Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unique Arts. I am your host, Costco Picasso. Today, we're going to be talking about another Celtic tale. And just FYI, I'm going to try to be making this a monthly series. So, we'll see how that goes. Try to publish once a month. I've done this once before. I did a Scottish tale, but that was about 8 months ago at this point. And today, we're going to be talking about an Irish tale called Master and Man. I'll give you a little synopsis that is mostly going to cover the whole story. The story is not very long, as with lots of these folk tales. They tend to be pretty concise, pretty simple. Of course, there are longer ones, and although this will be my first Irish tale that I'm covering, I am hoping to cover tales from all of the Celtic nations. I don't have any tales from Cornwall or the Isle of Man currently, but I'm sure I will remedy that at some point in the future. But nevertheless, we're going to be talking about an Irish story today. And Master and Man is about Billy McDaniel. He is a young man, and it says shortly after Christmas, so the weather was a bit chill. He was on his way home, and he's thinking, I'm pretty cold. I would like something to warm me up. Like, I'd really like a beer. And he hears a voice to his side offering him one pretty much, and he turns and looks, and it's one of the good people, pretty much a leprechaun essentially. And he has a pint that is pretty much the same size as him, and he hands it to Billy, and it's Billy really likes it. It's awesome. But then the master expects payment. And his payment that he tells Billy is that he's going to have to be a servant to him for 7 years, which doesn't seem quite fair. But regardless, he threatens Billy. He's a little bit easy to anger. And so Billy shows up the next night, and he does whatever he tells him. And they do this for many nights, and they almost pretty much always just do the same thing over and over again. And that is Billy fetches the thrushes, and then with a little bit of magic, the leprechaun turns them into horses, and they fly off into some rich estates, and they sneak through the keyholes into the cellars, and they drink all of the wine pretty much. And it doesn't say they do this for an undisclosed amount of time, but pretty much they're assuming that there wasn't a single cellar in Ireland that they hadn't drunk from by the end of it. And one day they mix things up a little bit because Billy is told to get another horse, like an extra horse, because they're going to be coming back with more company than they're leaving with. It turns out the leprechaun, the master himself, wants to get himself a bride. And so they go to a wedding party. The wedding has not officially happened yet. I suppose he cannot actually steal a bride who is already married, but she is betrothed, and they're having like a dinner, essentially a wedding party before the actual wedding, before the priest actually marries them. And Billy and the master are up in the rafters, and it turns out that if the master makes her sneeze 3 times without anyone saying "God bless us," then she will be his. And so we get the first sneeze. No one says God bless us, not even the priest. And then it happens again the second time. And right before she's made the sneeze the third time, Billy himself screams, God bless us, as he didn't want this poor girl to be taken against her will. And his master is very angry and dismisses him from his service immediately. And he disappears, and then Billy plops down from the rafters onto the table. And everyone's very shocked, but he just explains quickly, what had happened, and so they're very thankful to him, and they hurry up with the ceremony and get them married. And so it's a pretty simple story. I don't really have like a lesson to be learned from it. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see in some regards. I guess don't take drinks from random little men. Or largely in some regards, you could say just don't interact with them. I know most people obviously don't believe in such people's, but some people do. And but even then, even though I pretty much just gave you the whole story, it's still worth a read. It's only a few pages long, and although there might not be a lesson that's super obvious besides perhaps what I just said, nothing super deep. It's got a little bit of magic, and it's got a little bit of characters that you would generally call mythological, so it's still a little fun. Folk tales are fun. But either way, that's been me. Please feel free to like and subscribe or comment. I greatly appreciate it. Especially comment if you think there is another lesson that can be learned that I just totally didn't think of. But regardless, I will see you guys hopefully next month with another Celtic tale, and of course, pretty consistently with other videos.